What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Flow State with yours truly, Harry Mack. We're in beautiful Los Angeles, Flotel scenario. Y'all know what it is, man. In this episode, we're going to talk about disconnecting from the outcome. We're going to talk about why I love practicing so much. And last but not least, I'll share some of the most embarrassing times I have ever had as a freestyler. It's going to be a fun one. Thanks for tapping in, y'all. Flow State, let's go.
This is from my Flow State. Add it. Yeah. Y'all know we back at it. Ain't it crazy how the mind works magic? We'll show you the method behind the madness, 'cause this is from my Flow State.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Flow State with yours truly, Harry Mack. I'm so excited to be here for another episode, joined, as always, by my co-host with For Show the Most, my man Sam. How you doing, Doc?
What's up, dude? I'm good. Same room. This is good.
Same room and an actual sight line.
yeah.
I can look at you and talk to you. This is amazing.
That's rare.
Super rare. We're the only podcast in the world where the people that are talking don't look at each other.
Back to back. Man.
We just imagine.
Or just remote, yeah. No, this is nice, Doc.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, and obviously we're in a entirely different space. Mm-hmm. This is kind of like the Flotel vibes for people who have been watching. Shout out to everybody that's been watching and following the journey here on Flow State Podcast. We did one in LA not long ago, a month and a half ago, a couple months ago maybe.
Something like that.
For the NBA All-Star Weekend, and we were in an actual hotel room, so we called it the Flotel, which was convenient and awesome. This we can't technically call the Flotel because this is an Airbnb, but same basic concept. I'm in Los Angeles. And we're here doing rehearsals for the Euro Tour.
Let's go.
Which has been awesome. I'm very excited to be on tour in Europe. I'm doing 6 shows out there. Now, actually, by the time you guys are watching this, I'm talking to you from the past, obviously. If I was talking to you from the future, that would be terrifying. But we will have already completed the Euro Tour by the time this episode is released, so I'm told. So it will have already happened. But as of this moment, the recording of this episode, we're about to head out there. We actually just finished our rehearsal cycle. And, dude, I'm so excited to get out there and do these shows.
Me too, man. It was good to be back with the crew. We rehearsed last couple weeks, and dude, I'm ready.
Me too.
Can't wait.
No, I'm so excited, man. It feels like it's been a long time. I've done some one-off shows here and there. You know, we did the thing where we opened for Lil Jon, which was awesome. Obviously, I did the TED performance. I've done a bunch of different corporate performances, private events, and things like that, which is always cool. But I haven't done like a headlining tour show or like a festival set like this in over a year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm really excited to get back out there and do it. And you know, I'm a little nervous just because it's been a while. I feel much better now that we've done our rehearsals. You know, 3 weeks back, I was like, really like, oh my God, how does any of this work? Like, can I even do this? Like, am I who they say I am? Like, but I am him. I am Harry Mack. At least I think so. And rehearsals were great, man. It was actually a very compact rehearsal schedule compared to what we normally do. Normally we'll get together in LA, you know, a month before we leave, and we'll do 4 weeks of rehearsing, but we'll do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you know, 3 days a week, something like that. And this time we didn't have as much time to be together here in LA. So, and because I'm not living in LA, it's a little difficult logistically for that reason as well. So we had to compress it all into 2 weeks. So we rehearsed Monday through Friday, basically 2 weeks in a row. And it was intense. It was definitely intense. But it was awesome for me. I would love to hear how you feel about it too, Sam. But it was a lot because it was 4 hours each day. We're getting together, we're running the set, we're working things out, we're tweaking things, we're making things better. But a lot of just sheer repetition too. Just like, let me run this set and remember how it all works, and really also just get the vocals ready. Tour ready, get the voice ready, because that's one of the biggest things for me personally, and I've spoken about this before. I know my brain knows how to freestyle, and I'm not saying that it's always operating at peak. There are times where your brain is distracted, or there are times when you're tired. So, the mental element is a factor, and that's why I try to take care of myself and be in the best shape possible for every show so I can deliver at the highest level. But really, the much more real limiting factor is my actual vocals, and like, can I get through this 90-minute set? No backing tracks, no. I mean, Jazz, my DJ, is an amazing hype man, but none of the lyrics exist, I'm freestyling the whole show. So considering that, like, he does a phenomenal job backing me up, but there's only so much he can back me up. Like during these verses, I'm making the shit up right then and there on the stage. So it's a very vocally demanding show. It's a very and it's a physical show too, because I really try to bring it, and bring my energy. And I feel like that's the least I can do for these people who are coming out to, spending their hard-earned money to come out and see me live and bringing their energy. They're showing up, so I got to show up even more if I can to the highest possible level. So yeah, not losing the voice, was a big struggle early on. Less of a struggle now, but still something that I'm always aware of, and especially with all the travel, 12-hour flight to get out to Europe. It's like, you can get a little run down and a little crispy in the vocal department. But I feel great after these 2 weeks, man.
Okay.
How'd you feel about the rehearsals?
It was cool, man. Like you said, the rehearsals before this, I believe we were like creating the concept of the Anomaly set. There was a blank whiteboard for like the first week, or we're filling it in. What is this? We're kind of rocking the same structure-ish. I mean, we're doing both festivals in Europe and headliners, so that was fun, trying to figure out the different, some things work in other spots, and also like timing constraints. But it was cool to not have to go through the conceptual thing and kind of just like mold what we have. And it's just good to be back with the squad, see everybody lock in.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude, and like everyone, including like your voice, you're like free. Everything kind of got stronger over time, and I felt really good about the last rehearsal. I'm ready to like kick it in front of some people, man.
Dude, me too. I'm so excited, man. We're doing some big festivals out there too. So, man, I mean, it's so hard for me to not say like, get your tickets, come out and see me, because it's already going to be done, people.
You did great, man. You did great.
But we promoted it as much as possible leading up to this moment. But no, I'm thrilled, man. I can't wait to get back out there. I feel like I've been thirsty for this, man. Like I've been wanting to get back on stage and do this thing again, and it's just I love making content. Obviously, I love making videos, and I love, recording music and doing all the other things, but there's something really special and really unique about going out on stage and doing it live and doing it in front of people. And, that to me has always been what it's all about, kind of musically. I've always considered myself a player, not like
Player.
not like that. No, I'm a committed husband. But I've always considered myself a player of music, so for me, it was always about live gigs. It was always about being on stage and performing. I'm a performer. So I'm really excited to get back out there. And you're right. Yeah, we were able to do this more condensed kind of 2-week rehearsal schedule, I think, mainly because we already had the skeleton of the set. It's basically the Anomaly set is continuing on now in cities in Europe that we weren't able to hit when we were out there last year for Anomaly. So yeah, that allowed us to get back out there. But it's interesting you mentioned that, because this really is kind of the end, probably the end of the Anomaly run. Yeah. After these 6 shows in Europe, I'll be ready to reimagine everything. Whatever that means, I don't know. Like, no promises. I'm not saying I'm going to burn the book and come back a completely different artist. Maybe I will.
There's been chapters already. We had Energy Exchange, and that's you first, like, developing what a freestyle live show, your freestyle live show looks like.
Right.
That was like the origin.
Yes.
Like write down words on a poster board, put it on an easel, and then it grew to Odyssey, and now we've been on the Anomaly for a while, and each of them have touched the U.S. and Europe, all over the world. So the Anomaly one's been fun.
Oh,
but dude, we brought the drums out. They're coming to Europe again.
It's been insane. Yeah, that's actually my favorite part, is that we incorporated the drums for the first time on the Anomaly tour. And
so dope.
Yeah, I can't wait to bring the drums out on some of these festival stages, see how that goes.
It's first.
Yeah. First time we're bringing the drums out at a festival, so really excited about that. No, but it does feel like this Anomaly set really does kind of encapsulate kind of all the aspects of my creativity up to this point. It includes all of it. And bringing the drums in was a really essential piece of that puzzle, And I always wanted to have that be a part of the show, but you got to build incrementally and get to a point where you can really do it realistically. And now we're out there doing it. So shout out to all the fans, man. Shout out to everybody that I guess by the time you're watching this will have been at the shows. Thank you for coming out and rocking with us. Oh my God, those shows in Europe were just amazing, weren't they?
The crowd was hype.
Oh my God, man! Remember that one moment? No,
I do.
It's going to be epic.
wait.
And shout out to the fans at large and the supporters of this podcast, man. It's so inspiring seeing the comments underneath these videos on YouTube. And I know some people are getting their podcasts from other platforms and listening to audio only and things of that nature. But thank you so much to everybody that is tuning in and checking this stuff out. It's really a joy for me. It's a joy for both of us to be able to record these and make these. And it's just awesome seeing the feedback and seeing that people are tuned in and listening and getting something out of it. You know, I don't want to do it just to do it. Like, I'm doing it so that hopefully I can provide some value and in some way, whether it's something that inspires you to do your own art or just something that entertains you for a good hour and a half and provide some relaxation, a break for you. Whatever it is, man, I'm here to hopefully provide some real value. And so reading those comments and hearing some of the nice things and constructive things that people have to say about the pod is just really, really dope. I appreciate you.
It's great, man. I feel like each episode it gets a little bit more deeper in terms of like how people are getting involved. Like more moments of flow suggestions are coming through the Jot form, which you can find online on the website, and like more in-depth just reactions to what you're talking about, not necessarily just like questions being submitted and stuff. It's just cool, man. It gets a little deeper every episode, and I appreciate it as well. And
definitely,
yeah, man,
definitely, yeah. No, it is cool too. Real quick before we get into some moments of flow here, it is a conversation. I feel like the podcast is a conversation with the audience, which is really dope. You know, I'm answering questions from you all, like I'm answering questions from the audience, and then in the comment section, there will be follow-up questions or responses to my answers to those questions, you know? And so it feels like in a very real way, like we're engaged in this kind of ongoing conversation with the listeners and viewers. And that's really cool.
I think it's great, man. And it'll make each episode like even better, you know? I really dig it.
Hell yeah.
There's some really dope moments of flow suggestions that came through recently. And that is one of my favorite parts of this pod that we're running right now, man. And we got a couple more here.
Hell yeah.
Last episode was our first double header.
Yeah, we introduced the idea that we need multiple moments per episode.
You know,
MOF, baby. MOF. MOF, baby. Moments of flow.
A little BOGO for y'all.
Hell yeah. BOGO MOF. Cut this guy. All right. Anyway, what do we got, man?
Let's just dive in, man. I mean, this one's it's kind of a light double header. I mean, coming on the I'll just let you figure it out here. But this first one's it's an interview from the Huberman podcast.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Does that have a more official name? Is that what it's? Huberman Lab?
Huberman Lab, yeah.
That's right.
Looks like, yeah.
And it's from the man, Rick Rubin.
Hell yeah.
This is a little segment from that if you want to check it out.
Amazing. Also, I'm observing this thumbnail, and it's awesome that they left Rick Rubin's lenses red.
The guy's so damn cool, man.
I'm like, did he?
It was probably a black and white camera. It just happened to he's like, nah, dude, these are just like defied the physics.
Penetrated yeah. So that's hilarious. That's probably what happened. Before you said that, I was like, did Rick Rubin text Huberman after he saw the thumb and was like, yeah, it's good, but could you just make my lenses red, please?
Yeah, make that thumb black and white, but keep it red.
Oh, that's dope. All right, let's hear what the legend and the ever-inspiring Rick Rubin has to say.
The question of worth it is reliant on an outcome. We don't make these things for an outcome. It's not the mindset to make something great. The outcome happens. You're making the best thing you can make. It's a devotional practice. Whatever happens after that happens, and that part that happens after it is completely out of your control. Putting any energy into that part that's out of your control, it's a waste of time. All it does is undermine your work. Your work is to make the best thing you can. So any thought you have about outcome undermines the whole thing.
Let that one sink in.
Yeah, let that one sink in. He's like, damn, you just dropped a gem right there, bro. And sincerely, he did. I love it. I don't have my sound effects, I realized just now at the Airbnb, but I'm hitting the air horn, man. We'll fill it in post. I'll make it obvious for the editor. Here we go. All right, so there you go. Yeah, those air horns are blasting. Damn, that's louder than the one I normally use. What the fuck? Awesome. I love his take here. it really resonates. And I think for me, it's a aspirational goal, which is kind of ironic because he's saying that there should really be no, he's almost saying there shouldn't really be any goal. Although he does acknowledge that your goal, if that's, I don't know if that's the word he would use, I'm using that word, would be to create the best thing you possibly can. So in that sense, I guess there's something you are attempting to do, but he's talking about detaching from the outcome. Anyway, I was going to say, it almost feels to me like this is what I aspire to adopt, this mentality. But I cannot say that I have been perfect at all or even close to embodying this principle. I've often been really bad at it. I've often been results oriented in the past, or thinking about like, oh, okay, well, like if you take our content, for example, like, oh, maybe if we do this thing, it'll be like super viral, or like, man, maybe if, or sometimes we'll be out there making content and I'm like, man, I don't feel like we've gotten that clip that's going to go really crazy on the internet, just as a little example. And even sometimes in my songwriting process, like working on the singles, I'm incredibly proud of that body of work. And I feel like pretty much all of those songs that we ended up sharing, come from an authentic place. And I wasn't necessarily thinking about like, oh man, I wonder how these are going to hit. But part of me was at times, I'm sure. And throughout that process, there were times where I would just be sort of frustrated and be like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make sure that these songs work, for me, I think as somebody who's so established as a freestyler, anytime I'm releasing like my recorded music, my official songs, my music projects, there's always that fear of like, is anybody going to fuck with this? Like I know it's not what the most people want, right? Like if you were to bundle up all of my online followers and fans, people who have subscribed or followed, most of them want to hear some freestyles. That's what I'm known for. That's what they're there for. And to be fair, that's what they were shown for the most part that made them want to follow along. Now, there's probably some people in the mix who maybe came to us. It would be amazing if some people came to us from this podcast, and I bet you some people have. Let us know in the comments, okay? Yeah. Did you discover me through Flow State Pod? That would be dope. Probably some have, and maybe some people have discovered me through my recorded music and through, who knows, of all the people out there that are aware and following along. There's a lot of different paths to it. But by and large, people are here for the off-top freestyles and the various ways that I've shown that. And so whenever I release my music, it's like, okay, I know this isn't going to be as broadly received by as many people as, let's say, a Gorilla Bars video, right? And that's known. But then it's like, okay, but is anybody gonna like this? Is this gonna do anything? Is this gonna matter? Like, how are people gonna perceive this? All these things, can start to unfortunately infiltrate my mind.
Your peers,
yeah,
too. That has to come into play a little bit.
Definitely, yeah. Like, what would, my actual peers, people that I've collaborated with and made music with, and then also like, legends and people I look up to. Like, oh wow, what would Nas think if he heard this, and I'm not thinking that he's going to hear it, but if he were to hear it, what would his thoughts be, things like that come into the mind. And oh man, I just feel like I fully agree with what Rick Rubin is throwing down here, that it's all just wasted energy, to think about that. And not only is it wasted energy, it also like actually gets in the way. It gets in the way of, you end up making something worse, I think, most of the time. And it also just makes the process of making things like unnecessarily painful and kind of whack and like stressful, and like it kind of like takes this beautiful thing that you loved doing as a kid and then just like makes it kind of similar to any other job. You're just like, fuck, I got to do this thing. It makes it like hard, it makes it scary. It makes it stressful. It makes you feel like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to try to make another song. Like, why, because the whole time I'm going to be stuck in my head, spiraling in my head, overthinking everything. Like, oh, should I do it on this beat? I don't know if people are going to like this beat. This beat's a little too boom bap. Maybe the old school people will like it. Oh, that's good. Because a lot of my fans are like, he's bringing real rap back. So maybe that's a good thing. Wait, should I try to bring real rap back? Wait, fuck. But maybe then I'm only appealing to like old school heads. Oh, all right. Should I do it on this trap beat? Oh, actually, I don't know. Can I even do that? Like, that seems a little bit left field, but I do rhyme on trap beats a lot when I'm freestyling. Yeah, but that's freestyling. Oh, should I freestyle? It's just like, that's the tip of the iceberg. I could keep running this skit for like an hour straight. All the thoughts that like at times have just been pulsing through my head when I'm sitting there supposedly trying to do something creative. And it's just like so at odds with doing something truly creative. It's like the opposite of it. It's like the type of thoughts you have when you're like going through like government websites. Like you have to get like a new photo ID. So you're on like the DMV website and like a lot of the links are circular or broken. And you're just like, this sucks. And you're like reading fine print and you're reading like small text that doesn't make that much sense to you and you're confusing yourself and you're trying to keep track of your old ID and your new ID and did I fill that out and did I not? And let me go back into the emails. It's like, to me, that's what it feels like, but it's all inside my brain. It's all internal. And it ruins it, man. It ruins the spark. It ruins the love. And it's you know, this podcast is called Flow State. I feel like that overthinking is just the antithesis of flow. It just totally blocks the flow. And so much of it, not all of the overthinking can pertain to a lot of different things, but so much of it does pertain to this like preoccupation with what's the outcome going to be, you know, what's going to happen when I put this out or when I complete this piece or when I share this piece. Like, are people going to like it or not? You know, is it going to move the needle for me or not? Is it going to matter or not? And that's where so much of the overthinking comes from. And it's just irrelevant because, to Rick Rubin's point, and I completely agree, it's all out of your control anyway, right? You can't force a great song, you know, through just like tireless thought. Like you can't just like this rigorous thinking for days and days and days. And that's somehow going to birth like this great song that resonates on an emotional level. I mean, maybe that's happened before. So there's probably, I'm sure it has, but by and large, I don't think that's the path, you know, and in my own experience, it has been an ongoing challenge to try to remember that, you know, to try to remember that like, hey man, this is finger painting, you know. It's my signature go-to way of describing it, but to me it's so resonant because it's like, this is just breaking rules, having fun, getting messy. And that's why I love freestyling so much. And so my challenge is to figure out how to bring that improvisational freestyle energy into the lab when I'm actually cooking up and working on music. And I don't have the answer or the like, oh yeah, all I got to do is this. Meditate for 14 minutes before, and then I do a little dance, and then I go in, and it's like, hell yeah, turn my brain off, I'm here. But I've had little glimpses of it, and it's blissful, you know?
Man, I think this is unfortunately kind of becoming a very relevant topic for people more and more, even outside of music, as social media takes over. And like, there's so much influence at all times, so many eyeballs. It's like hard to like just unplug and tap in with yourself to get authentic, unique thoughts. And obviously it's hard as an artist to put it out there without even thinking about that. When you're writing a lyric, you're thinking about how it's being perceived immediately, but that's not how we get these unique pieces of art that inspired us to make it in the first place for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, of course it's so difficult, man. And it's hard even when you're not thinking about this and you're just making art yourself. It's not easy making music.
No.
But coming from that roundabout way of like, okay, let me speak from my voice, but is the voice accepted from this side or that's, you know, it's tricky, and the ecosystem these days makes it harder and harder. But
yeah,
it's great when you can and it feels good.
Yeah.
And yeah.
100%, dude. No, I agree. And it's true too, like the point you make about social media and all the eyes. It's like, yeah, obviously I have a lot of eyes on me. I've been doing this for a while, and you know, it's been successful and I have this audience, right? And so there's that thing. But even if you're just starting out, to post your song on like Instagram, we've talked about this a little bit in the past. Like that's already such a different experience than it would have been like, you know, before Instagram, when you would just like maybe share it with your close friends first. You know, it's like now it's like you post it and everybody who follows you on your personal page may see it and hear it, you know? And I feel like that's nerve-wracking. And then you start thinking about what they're going to think. What's this person that I went to high school with going to think of like my first song that I'm ever publishing? And it's like, who cares?
Right.
But, you know, it's hard not to care. So I do think it's really tough. And it does make me think, like back when I was a kid, you know, when I was in my first group, State of Mind, you know, me and 3 of my best friends, it was so great because I remember when we would get together and show our verses, you know? It was like Brady or Jack would have a beat, and then me and my friend Alon would be working on the song, and it would be like, yo, let's get together after this after school on Thursday or whatever, and we'll show each other our verses, you know? I was like, oh shit, like, and I would be nervous, you know, to show my verse, and because I always wanted to kill it, and I wanted to do at least as good as Alon. Rest in peace to Alon, who's no longer living, but Mighty Misk, MISC, Miscellaneous, one of the illest, man, like just an amazing artist, amazing writer, amazing rapper, and just a brilliant creative mind. And he would usually finish first, you know, he would have the first verse, and then he would show it, and I'd be like, God damn, that was crazy. All right, oftentimes he would show his on a different day, like earlier, because everyone was always waiting on me. I was always slow with the verse. And then I would be like, God damn, because I was probably thinking about trying to impress them. But I will say, and that is outcome oriented, but it was very cool. It was like, to me, it was like a very healthy version, because these dudes were in the group. And so they were the only people I cared about their opinion of my shit, basically, at that time. Like, and I cared about my other friends and stuff, and also strangers eventually, but I didn't need to care, because if the 3 other dudes that were making the shit with me thought it was fire, then I'm good. I'm just like, well, if anybody doesn't like it, they don't have good taste, you know? They don't get it. Like, or they don't, it doesn't matter. It was immediately deemed irrelevant. And I had never thought about this, man, until this exact conversation, but that was so dope, you know? Yeah, wow, like I took for granted how amazing that was. That it's like there's 3 people who I trust wholeheartedly, and we have this like very aligned creative vision, and they're the only ones that I need to impress with my shit. And if I impress them with my shit, then I'm golden.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
Yeah,
and I it's like a real like treasure to have, because you think about someone who would like fall in love with, you know, whatever art, and they can't find a group or community to help turn those wheels, and that's so massive. And I think it's so separate in ways that we're talking about here, because that's outcome based, but like that's outcome based within terms of like respect and being, you want to be great at the craft, and so do the other people with you. It's not necessarily like a social structure like worry. So that's an interesting side that you can kind of point out there, and man, like to have a group to grow in the craft with is so, man, that's like some of the best parts of life, like right there, man. To share something like that and just like explore rap for the first time, like growing up with those kids, man. Like,
it was so dope.
That's the best, dude. That's the best.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was so dope. Yeah. And there were a couple times where it was like they weren't really feeling my shit, and I was like, damn. I would get pissed at first, and then I would be like, yeah, they were right. They were right. I remember one time I showed Alon. Usually I kind of knew, and I showed him this verse, and I was like, I don't know if this is really hitting, man. Like, we didn't say that like that back then, but I said whatever. I don't know if this is really like good enough or dope enough. And then he listened to it, and he was like, I feel like it's dope, but it could be like a little crazier. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I remember this other time I recorded a verse, and Brady was like, you sound kind of like tired on this one. And I was like, I got pissed. I was like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? But then later I was like, you know what? You're right, man. Let's redo it. But no, it was such a beautiful time. I cherish those times. Shout out to Rick Rubin, a true legend, hip hop pioneer. One of the goats, man, dropping a gem, a healthy reminder for all of us, man, and I certainly need it. So,
what did Huberman say there? He's like, let that one sink in. I swear that's how I felt like after every paragraph of his book. I'm like, all right, let me just.
Yeah,
like, what is that?
It is that type of book. It's like you could read the whole thing in like a couple afternoons, but you shouldn't. It's like one chapter a week and let it sink in.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Really dope.
Yeah, I love it. Rick Rubin, man, he keeps giving. I love that he's giving interviews these days.
Yeah.
One more Moments of Flow here for you, man.
Let's get it.
This is a clip that I saw it a long time ago, and I'm not gonna lie, I come back to it every now and then. It cracks me up, man. And just as a master of your craft, as a drummer, and musician, I think this is a must react here on Flow State because
Hell yeah.
my man caught a flow state here.
Let's get it, dude. I was laughing because I seen the thumbnail, and I'm fairly certain I've seen this video, but we're going to run this, man. Let's see what we got. Drummer catches a case of flow state. Hell yeah, I like that.
The look to camera at the end. What?
That's hilarious. What my thing is like, what is the context of this? This is hilarious. Like, where is this happening? And is that like, who is that woman in the background?
She's loving it, kinda.
Is she like doing sign language interpretation for the audience, or like?
It's all a mystery, man.
Yeah, dude.
The whole environment, that's like the best part. I like to imagine it's like a kid's party.
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah,
I love that
yeah.
it starts so slow. That's the best part. I try to include like just the beginning because it goes for like a couple minutes where he's just keeping it going nice and easy, and then...
Yeah, well, that's what's so funny about this. First and foremost, before I say anything, because I might have a slightly controversial take on this take, but the first thing I want to say is shout out to the drummer, because first of all, I don't know how you can play at all wearing that suit. That's amazing. I don't think I would be able to keep a groove wearing that outfit. And if you're just listening in audio, like, watch this on video. Like, please just check it out, or I guess type this into YouTube. But
we'll link it. We'll link it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll have it linked in the show notes. You really have to see the visual here for this to hit. But there's, but yeah, and the drummer obviously has some crazy chops and some double bass drum stuff going on, which is amazing. Although I will say that I almost feel like the flow state might have been the deepest in the first half, because
go on.
I actually think that as awesome as all the chops are, and the fast double bass stuff, and I say this with the utmost respect, please understand, I think that the groove and the feeling of the drum part and the music in general was actually better in the first part, when it was just a simple kind of open groove. And for me, as a drummer, I think so often we get in our own way by playing too much complicated stuff. Oftentimes the role of the drummer is to create a groove and create a feeling and make people want to move their bodies and dance. And I think the first part of this clip was doing that. The groove felt really good. And I think there's this certain type of flow state that emerges from just like this repetitive kind of like groove, this repetitive beat where it gets like meditative, it gets like trance inducing, like there's this type of flow that is kind of like born out of trance, I think, where it's just like you're just like in this pocket and it's so deep and everybody's kind of like locked in and feeling the time together. And then the thing that we do as drummers is we like have all these great chops and we can play fast and we know we can play all these awesome fills, and we've been practicing this double bass thing, and then we're just like looking for an opportunity to be like, let me insert this, whether it's musically appropriate or not, right? So I was actually feeling almost a deeper flow in the first half. Now that being said, like, let me not be the grumpy guy that just like rains on the parade.
Rip, man. Let my man rip.
Yeah, and there's a time and place to rip, and honestly, I feel like this was the time and the place. So, like, who am I to say, like, I'm gonna tell this guy in this pink. What suit is this? What character
How can you
is this?
say it's the time and place? I don't know. And it's all just such a mystery, man.
I mean, I think it must be the time and place. Like, maybe he's done this gig like 50 times in a row, and he's always just kept it right in the pocket and like done it right. And maybe this was like his last one. Like, he's gonna quit after this. He knows it. Yeah, he got a gig with a better band. He's like, I'm done wearing this suit, and he's just like, let me show y'all what I can really do. But this cat definitely has way better double bass drum chops than me. So I'm probably just jealous, and that's why I'm saying that I liked the first half better. I don't know. But no, salute to this drummer, man. This is an awesome moment. I'm so glad it was filmed and captured. And yeah, so much fun, man.
It's so funny breaking it down that way, actually, because like, yeah, as a gigging drummer, like you looking at it through that lens, which I never have. Of course, that's like, yo, drummer, like chill, like you're the rest of the band, like, hey man, like that's you're taking over.
Yeah.
But no, I never thought about it that way. I'm just like, look at this scenario. They're like almost like all the factors are kind of different. Like, like the outfit, like in drumming. That's interesting. The like children's lullaby like song, and then a double bass like just coming in out of nowhere. Like, man,
it's nuts. Yeah. No, I love it, man. That song needed some of that double bass drum, man. That really took it to a whole nother level.
Yes, man.
That was crazy.
I love it, man. That's so funny. You've seen that before. I love it.
I feel like drummers have seen this. There's a couple other ones. There's one where like the monster, like one of the puppets from like Sesame Street or something, is playing a crazy solo.
Like throw it down, actually.
Yeah, there's like a couple like kind of things like this. Believe it or not, nothing quite like this that I've seen. But this is hilarious.
Got an early internet vibe to it for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, dope, man. Thanks for letting me throw that.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, dope, man. We have another Meet the Team here, and we got a great one today. They all have been great.
Hell yeah.
We're starting to kind of get down to we've covered a lot. And right now we've got iKaanic up here on Flow State episode 39.
Let's go.
Sent in a video and check it out.
Hell yeah. Shout out to my boy iKaanic. Most of you already know what's up. He's a artist in his own right. Mm-hmm. And the first employee that we hired. Mm-hmm. Because it was just me and my now wife for the first chapter of this thing. And iKaanic is the first person, outside person that we brought in. And he's just been killing it and taking things to the highest possible level for years now. And he's an amazing person, somebody who I'm very grateful to know. And I'm very excited to hear what he has to ask here. And it's funny, too, before I press play, how you were like, yeah, we've gone through quite a few people. I'm like, are people at home like, how big is this team? Yeah. Like, how long can they keep this up?
It's kind of a vague way to lay it out, to be honest.
But we are getting down to it. So it's only right. We got iKaanic here. Let's hear from our boy.
Yo, what's good, Flow State fam? It's your boy iKaanic. Y'all might have seen me as the chauffeur on car bars. Co-hosts of Happy Hour back in the day, Twitch, YouTube, now Patreon. Also, was the first person on Team Harry Mack back in 2020, and now we got a whole squad that y'all have been meeting. And my hands are in a lot of the operations for Team Harry Mack, and it's been honestly the best time of my life. So here's my question to Harry. One thing y'all might not know is how obsessed Harry is with practicing, and he's talked about it, and we all know he loves practicing, but it's really on a different level. Like, y'all might think he practices to be better at the performance or the videos or anything. It really is like he would lock himself in a studio for like 3 years and just practice with no food or water if like that was possible. That's what it feels like sometimes. I'm exaggerating. Anyway, my question is, Harry, why? What makes practicing so appealing to you? What brings you into that moment every single time and just makes you obsessed with practicing itself? Yeah, that's the question.
Peace.
Oh, yeah. Hey, hold up. Yo. Hold up.
Oh, we're going to stream that in peace by your boy iKaanic, y'all. Come on, iKaanic.
Sam Fish, fun fact.
Come on now.
We have the same birthday, this man and I. All right, so it was meant to be.
Peace.
Damn.
iKaanic.
Replace mine with the.
Nailed it.
That's epic, dude. Also hilarious that Sam is making like an Inception like double appearance like in the episode from a different time. This is crazy. The Europe shows have already happened. My mind is blown.
Yeah, this was definitely shot during rehearsal, so
Yeah.
we were in the same crib there for a bit.
Nice. That's awesome. And yeah, go stream In Peace. iKaanic's album. Go check it out.
For real.
Dope project. And just go support this guy in everything that he's doing. And also just know that everything of mine that you see like coming out into the world in video form, like this guy is like the mastermind. He's like scheduling everything out, picking moments, putting things in a certain order. Like, let's do this on this day because that'll lead well into the. I mean, it's just amazing actually what this cat can do and the way that his mind works. It's fucking inspiring. Shout out to iKaanic. And great question. Why do I love practicing? Man, let me think on that because I don't necessarily know exactly why I love practicing because I don't necessarily know exactly why I love music. It's kind of like we can trace like evolution back to like know that we like kind of started as like single-celled organisms and then like over millions of years like now we have humans and all this biodiversity. But like to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm speaking out of my field here, but we don't know exactly why the first single-celled organisms emerged. Like we don't know exactly how that I guess we definitely don't know why, but we don't I think even exactly know how. Like there are some theories maybe that it was like electricity or like lightning hit the water or like some shit happened. But anyway, whether or not that's true, it relates to how I feel about my connection to music. Like I know that I was moved by music essentially from the very beginning. And I know this because like I'm told that I reacted to music in certain ways when I was a baby. What's really special is that my daughter also reacts to music in this really special way. And it's just amazing to see. Side note, she dances and she knows when it's music and she knows when it's time to dance, which that alone blows my mind because she's not even a year old yet. And it's like, she can't talk, but she knows what music is. And she knows that when you hear music, you can move your body in a certain way that is musical and expressive. And I used to do my version of that when I was a baby. And it's like, as soon as the memories start forming, there's this like feeling that music is just the dopest shit ever. Like that was just always there. So I have to assume it was there before I started forming memories, not just because of these stories of me moving my body and dancing. Maybe most babies do that. You know, it's possible. But like that might be really common. Comment below if you also dance to the music from a young age before making memories. But in addition to that, it's just like as soon as the memories started, I was like, yes, music is everything. This is so fire. This is what I'm into. And I don't know why. You know, there must be something about me, about the way that I'm wired and the way that I'm set up. I have to assume that makes it just extra appealing to me. Most people enjoy music, some form of music, and there's a lot of people out there who really love music. And I'm one of those people, you know, and I always have been. And so I think I always kind of knew somehow that I was going to get myself into a position where I could play music. And then luckily I had really supportive parents who got me into that position. And then I started learning about what it means to practice. Probably like when I started playing the violin, you know, when I was 7. I started when I was 7. And that was the first time, I guess, where my teacher was like, hey, here's what we're working on, and you need to practice it. And I didn't love practicing at that point, but I knew that I had to do it, I guess, and my dad kind of forced me to do it. And sometimes I would throw tantrums and be like, I don't want to practice. He'd be like, you have to practice. We're paying for these violin lessons and blah, blah, blah. But shout out to my dad, though, because even though we would sometimes clash over the need to practice, he was there by my side for the whole like beginnings of me learning what it means to be a musician. And he had this little notebook where he would take notes, detailed notes in every violin lesson. And then he would put the date and the notes from our practice sessions every night.
Wow.
And I had that notebook, and I'm just realizing that notebook is gone from the fire. I actually had not thought about that.
It's incredible.
That's crazy. I just realized that. Wow, it's in the ether, but it's forever in my memories. And he gave it to me at one point after I graduated from college, and it was like the coolest thing to receive because it was just so meaningful, to like. So I really learned how to practice, with my dad basically. And he's not even a musician, but he was just such a dedicated father that that he did that. We did that for 30 minutes a night, most nights. So that, I guess, is when I started. But like I said, I didn't really like it. But then it got to a point, though, where I started to get kind of like okay at the violin, And violin's a crazy instrument because for the first like year, it sounds horrible, except unless you're like a rare prodigy or something and it just comes to you naturally. But usually it like takes a long time. I might be exaggerating, but it takes a long time to get a nice tone. Whereas like a piano, you can walk up and press a key and there's levels to it, but you'll more or less get the tone of a piano. You're not going to like press it and get like a horrible cat strangle sound, but with the violin, you do. And so it took a long time. And then eventually I got kind of okay at it. And at some point, I did a recital, and rather than cry through the whole recital or just go up and do a bow, that was a funny thing too. Like one of the early things you could do at a recital before you could play was you would just go up with your violin in rest position. You would put it in play position. You would put it back in rest position and you would bow. But eventually I got to a place where I could play the piece, whatever the piece was, and it went kind of well. And I think that was a big piece of it was I realized in that moment that like, oh, wow, this is why we're doing the practice. And it's so obvious, but as a kid, it's just kind of like, why do I have to do this practice? And then eventually there was the payoff of having like a decent performance where it was like, oh shit, this is why we did all of that. Because it felt really amazing to go up there on that stage and do a good job. It felt amazing, And so it's like, that was like this eye-opening moment of like, oh, this is how it works. This is how music works. And I love music. And I don't know if I had I don't think that I had like an intrinsic like connection to the violin. Like I didn't have like a natural pull to the violin. It was more like I have this undeniable pull to music and it's obvious. And then my parents are like, let's get you started on an instrument. Which one do you want? And I was kind of like, I don't know, shy. And then they're like, what about the violin? And I was like, okay, sure. So it was that kind of thing. It was a great first instrument for me, but it wasn't like calling to my heart and pulling me in. But still, I was able to see through the violin for the first time, like this is how you get good at music. Like this is how you can become a musician, is through this practice thing. And like maybe I should be a little bit more open to it. And then it was like, I want to play the drums. That came from me. And that was when I was 10. And I was like, I want to play the drums. And then I get my drums and it's like, I didn't have to be told to practice, Like my parents were amazed. They're like, he just goes down there and practices. Like we have to tell him to stop practicing.
How old were you?
Now you got to eat dinner. 10.
10? When you switched to the drums?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so that was the next level of me being like, that's the instrument that I want to play. And so then it's like, we get that instrument, but it's pulled into it's the private teacher lesson once a week. Here's the thing to work on. Shout out to my first drum teacher, Israel Annoh from Ghana, now based in Portland, Oregon. Amazing musician, amazing teacher. Won the lottery with my first drum teacher. Just incredible mentor to me and taught me so much. But it was that sort of traditional way of learning an instrument in a sense. He would come to my house and the lessons were in the basement and stuff like that. But it still worked that way. And then and then right around the same time, it was like hip hop. I'm like, I want that. I want that thing. Like that's amazing. How do we do that? And that was not even brought into like a traditional way of learning an instrument because that didn't and doesn't still really exist. So it was like, oh, I'm just going to start rapping and writing rhymes. And then eventually, like soon after 6th grade or something, it was like, oh, there's this program called Fruity Loops and you can like make beats in there. And so then it's just like, holy shit. It's like, I'm taking this thing that I learned as a little kid from the violin of like, if you do the thing consistently, you'll get better at it. And it's so simple, but it's like, it's so true. And it's true in everything. And, but I was like, now I can apply it to the things that I'm genuinely so curious about within this thing called music. And I can take inspiration from like the music that's already like speaking to my soul and figure out how to like get closer to it myself through practice. So it became very motivating. And I guess it's similar to like when people are trying to like lose weight or like, change their body composition or something like that. And it's hard to get motivated in the beginning because it takes a really long time before you see a result. And I think this was kind of similar. It was like, luckily my dad like was making me do it when I couldn't see a result. And then as soon as I saw the result, I was like, that's cool. And then I started seeing more results and I was like, this is sick. And then eventually it was like, oh, okay, tight. And it wasn't so consciously like I was thinking about it like this, but I think in the back of my mind, and in my soul somewhere and in my heart, that's like really what was happening was I was like starting to realize how it all works. And now I will say that practice for me has become, somewhere along the way, it became like this almost necessary practice for me. There's that word practice. That's kind of funny. But I mean like the same way that like meditation is a necessary practice for some people or like waking up people like to wake up at a certain time. They feel better when they wake up early or they feel better when they stay up late. People feel better when they eat certain kinds of foods. People have to see their best friend at least once every couple of weeks or they start to feel like they're not grounded anymore. And so music practice became that to me. And I didn't even realize that, but it was just like when you have this thing that's in your life every day for like your whole childhood, like all the way through high school. And then I went to music school. So then all through college, I'm practicing. And then like you get out of college and like, you're trying to practice, but you're in apartments and you can't always play drums and stuff. And you're trying to figure it out. You're just like desperately scratching to find a practice space as a drummer, because it's like, I need to do this. And it's no longer even about like, I need to get better. It's what it is, bro? Rick Rubin. It's not even about the result. It's just not even about the result anymore. And that's why Khan's saying, he's joking in here, I would just lock myself away for 3 years. Before he said no food or water, I was like, yeah, I actually want to do that. Sonny Rollins did that. Rest in peace to the great tenor saxophonist Sonny Rollins from the jazz world who passed away not long ago and was and is one of my favorites. And he did that. He removed himself from the professional scene just so he could practice for years on a bridge in his neighborhood, and then came back like at a whole nother level. He was already amazing, and he was already on the scene. But he was like, yeah, fuck this. I'm playing too many gigs. I don't have enough time to practice. And I felt like that sometimes. Like, man, we're filming too many videos that I need to practice. So it's beautiful, man. I'm so grateful to have that thing in my life, because it helps me feel grounded and it helps me I just got to practice today, funny enough. We had the rehearsal space booked for today. It's a Friday. We did Monday through Friday, 2 weeks in a row. But we were so tight on the set. We had run it so many times that we all kind of were like, hey, I think we could take Friday off, give people some time to like run some errands and get ready for tour. Because there's a lot of things there's a lot of little loose ends you got to tie up before you go away for a month, right? Mm-hmm. And I was going to cancel the rehearsal space. And then I was like, wait, 4 hours of room and there's a drum set in there? It's like, oh, never mind, I'm keeping it. And so I went there and I practiced, and I hadn't like practiced the whole time because we've been rehearsing so much. It's so funny. Everyone's like, isn't that what practice is? It's like, no, you don't understand, because to me, practice is a solo thing. It's this thing I do. And I think that's one of the other things that I love about it. Just realize that is, despite what I do for a living, I'm actually very introverted, and I recharge, through alone time. And so to me, practice is this like beautiful form of alone time where it's just me and the instrument. That's it. It's just me and the instrument. And I'm not trying to impress anybody. I just know what I'm working on, and I know how to measure whether it's working or not. And I know that if it's not working, I can slow it down, and I can slow it down infinitely. And eventually I can slow it down to a place where I can do it. And then I can build it back up gradually, and I can build this cathedral, like one tiny brick at a time. I can just build this cathedral. And it's just so like, it just makes me feel warm even talking about it. I love to practice.
I love it. I was happy you got to go and have that session today. I was stoked when, I feel like I was there when you were like, wait a second. I'll come in and work drums real quick.
Yeah.
That is so cool, man. Because like it's different. Like you said, it's like the step out of what Rick Rubin said. It's like there is no destination for
Yeah.
when you're practicing. You're all alone. You got rid of all of that outer, pressure and influence, and you're just like working on. I hadn't really thought about it that way. Man, you're just like cooking like the ingredients in the back, but like you're not really like mixing up the like dish or anything necessarily. You're not serving it up.
Right. Yeah, it's so beautiful, man. So hopefully through all that, I answered the question.
I think so.
I think hopefully somewhere in there was an answer, but I do think it's that alone time with just me and the instrument. It's that, and it's that daily ritual. It's that daily ritual. And I'd be lying if I said it was every day now. Obviously I am a husband now. I'm a father now. I do have this career, we have this team, we're doing a lot of things. I don't get to practice every day. And I should mention too, I've talked about this mainly through the lens of being a drummer, but I also practice freestyling all the time. And basically approach it the same way I approach the drums. And again, when I'm practicing freestyle, it's not about, I don't film it. And there's been times in the past where I'm like, I should just film my practice sessions and like put those on Patreon or like put them on somewhere else or just put them out, But to me, it ruins it. I have done some practice sessions where I like stream it, but it's different. It becomes somewhat of a performance. It's still great, and I still like got a lot out of it, and hopefully the people who watched it enjoyed it too. They've gotten a positive response when I've done them in the past, which is awesome. But that's not the thing, That's not the thing that is like that I'm talking about that is firing me up. As soon as you turn a camera on or turn a recorder on, now it's not just me and the instrument. There's somebody else in the room. So, yes, I love to practice, and I love this team, and I love iKaanic, man. Much love, my dog. Thank you so much. Excellent question.
Absolute legend, man.
Hell yeah.
Absolute legend.
Hell yeah. All right, let's keep it rocking. I've been long-winded, and, we'll see how many of these fan questions we can get through, but I want to get to at least a couple questions from you all. Shout out to everyone that has been submitting their questions. HarryMackOfficial.com/FlowStatePod. That's where you go. You can type something up. We love it. You can record yourself, voice memo on your phone. Very easy. AirDrop it, upload it, whatever. Do it straight from your phone. You can do that. That way I get to hear your voice. I just explained like my process for doing things, which is like I put it on my laptop because I like uploading from there. But you don't have to do that.
For some reason, I thought you meant submit it via AirDrop, and I'm like, you got to be real quick. You got to be passing by, AirDrop it to my phone.
Come on over, AirDrop it. Yeah, come on over.
My bad.
My address is okay, but or you could do a video, and we would love that. But any way, shape, or form, ask me the question, and if we like it and we have time for it, we will answer it. So I want to get into a couple of these now, starting with Chewbacca. Hell yeah,
let's go.
The question is, what does it mean to you when you say "filling y'all with joy" at the end of a freestyle? When did that become your goal for your performances, and how do you work toward that mission? Hell yeah. Thank you, Chewbacca. Great question. What does it mean to me when I say that? Well, putting smiles on faces and filling them with joy. If y'all are rocking with it, someone make some noise. Okay.
And that's said what? Mostly during Gorilla Bars? Actually, you tell me. When is this?
That is said at the end of many a Harry Mack freestyle. But yeah, I would say like from the stage, for sure I say that. And out there, usually it's with a live audience that is there in the same physical space as me. Sometimes I do like just say it habitually when I'm like on an Omegle with one other person. And then I'm like, that's a little awkward. Like they might not want to like make some noise in the traditional sense of like clapping and be like, woo. But it usually ends up being fine. Yeah, it always works out one way or another. But yeah, I mean, it's, setup punchline led me to realize that, so I want to end with make some noise, right? When I'm out there performing. That's a great way to end. And just by sheer coincidence, noise rhymes with joy, which that's a beautiful thing that they happen to rhyme because if I'm being completely honest, it's probably setup punchline that led me to, there were only so many options, right? In terms of how am I going to be able to end this freestyle by saying make some noise? Well, I could say deploy or avoid, and I have. I've said a lot of them. I'm clever and coy. But probably my favorite one to say, and the one that Chewbacca has pointed out here, is filling y'all with joy because it is incredibly meaningful to me to be able to spread joy through my music and art and the things that I make and share with the world. I think when it's all said and done, man, that's kind of what I'm aiming to do is spread joy to as many people as I possibly can. And you ask, when did that become my goal for my performances? I don't know exactly. It wasn't a conscious thought per se, but music has always filled me with joy. And I've just gained so much from living a musical life, both as a listener and a fan, and now also as a musician myself. And through my whole childhood practicing, like we just talked about, I gained so much joy from that whole process. And when I'm feeling bad, music can make me feel better, and it's not always like, oh man, I had a rough day, so let me put on some like happy music to make me forget about it. No, usually it's like, man, I'm going through something tough. Let me listen to some sad music, or some music that captures this emotion that I'm feeling right now. And in that sense, it's like, oh, I'm being seen, I'm being heard. It's like, it's not just me. I'm not just trapped. I'm not just a brain in a vat. I'm not just like locked in my own internal experience feeling these things, that nobody else can feel. It's not this like miserable, lonely existence, because this person who did this song and made this recording apparently has felt something similar, and how beautiful is that like we can connect. I never even met this person, but through my headphones, I'm feeling seen and heard and validated in my human experience. That's unbelievable. That's awesome, And so when I approach my creativity, my goal would be to help somebody else feel seen and heard, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. And obviously as a freestyler, I'm uniquely positioned to make people feel seen and heard literally, because I might be rapping about their outfit or rapping about the words that they gave me. And, so to me, that's always the goal. That's why I create things, is to spread joy. And not always, again, not like I'm like rainbows and unicorns and everybody's happy. It's like, that's not, in my view, how you spread joy through art necessarily, but through speaking authentically on my emotional state when I'm freestyling, or sharing my authentic view on something, or hearing somebody's story or something tough they went through, and then trying my best to like empathize and put myself in their shoes and see through their eyes and then speak their story through my freestyle. These are ways that, hopefully I'm able to spread joy with what I do. And I will say I didn't know how far I would be able to take it, or how much I would be able to like kind of scale that thing. And that has been mind-blowing to me, building this audience and doing what we get to do now. We're about to go do festivals and shows, headlining shows in Europe. All the headlining shows are sold out. It's like unreal, that we're able to spread joy at this level. So again, it wasn't like a conscious choice where I was like, oh, I think I'll use my art to spread joy. It was just kind of, to me, that's like what it always was. And then it just sort of like blew my mind to see how much of a hunger there was for that, for my particular version of doing it. Which was really awesome. And in terms of how I work toward that mission, I think for me, it's just how can I, one, show up every single time, like it might be the last time, I really, like, I don't ever want to phone it in, when I'm freestyling. Like, I don't ever want people to be like, oh, it seems like he just kind of did it because he had to. Like, fuck that. Like, I'm always trying to be all the way there and give everything I have to it. And I think if I do that, and if I strive to be as authentic as possible when I'm doing it, to really share how I feel, and to really try to share like the nuance and the depths of how I feel as a human being, and not just, the surface level, or not just saying what I think is the most palatable, but really trying to open up my heart and express it. And luckily for me, when I'm freestyling, my heart kind of opens up on its own. So, but yeah, by continuing to do both of those things, hopefully I can, spread even more joy.
It's so cool to think about. You weren't sure how much, this freestyle thing, let's say that right there, will scale. Yeah. To think about that in how far or how much joy, or how far this joy would spread.
Yeah.
Like, that's sick, man. Like, yeah, you're taking it to festivals like in a week. Like, you're just spreading joy. And like, as someone who's seen almost damn near every show, luckily, like, I'm blessed to have, I enjoy every show.
Yeah.
I gotta say, man, it's one of the things I respect the most is, yeah, you don't phone it in, but also like the authentic thing that you bring to every show. Man, it's taxing because it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But it's like you're 100% basically as best as you can do every time.
Hell yeah.
And that's why I think this show every single time I'm just like, there it is again.
Hell
man.
yeah.
I love it, man.
Thank you,
fun
bro.
To be a part of and see and witness, man.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, life happens and there's ups and downs, and You know, I always think about that quote where it's like, you know, if you have 40% to give and you give 40%, you gave 100%. Like that's what that looks like, you know?
You can see it too.
Yeah.
Like it looks like 100%.
Yeah.
When someone's doing that.
Hell yeah.
And like you said, it's ups and downs and stuff. And I love that like art, like there's this Ethan Hawke quote, great actor, started in the theater. He's like a very like thespian type of actor.
Oh, sick.
He has this thing about poetry. It's like people don't think they need poetry, right? Until you get like great loss or a great win. It's like, has anyone ever felt this great before? Has anyone felt this bad before?
Right.
Like, that spreading the joy, and I love that you wrap it up like with that. It's like that is your goal. Is I think that's a big part of like why we seek art.
Definitely.
So I love that you found like a little dismount there that kind of encapsulates it in your own way.
Hell yeah, bro. Thank you, man. And I agree wholeheartedly with that.
And it's hard to end a song, probably.
And yeah, you got to have a way to get out. You got to have a way to get out.
That can't hurt.
Yeah. I have other signature closers. There's like the I really hope you enjoyed that as the last statement, but it's like came to destroy rap. It's your boy Mack. I really hope you enjoyed that. Whoa.
I love it.
But then again, shout out to Rick Rubin. I don't care if you enjoyed it. Okay, it's not about you enjoying it. A little bit. I love it. All right, here's one from Paul B. If Off the Dome is the jazz of hip hop, ooh, I like that. If Off the Dome is the jazz of hip hop, what beats would you consider the jazz standards of rap? Ooh, dope. Okay, what are your go-tos? What will carry on in the culture long term? Awesome question. Jazz standards, for those who don't know, there's this standard repertoire basically of songs. Many of them come from like Tin Pan Alley, basically like Broadway plays from like the 40s and 50s and maybe even earlier. I don't know. But a lot of the jazz standard repertoire are songs from Broadway plays. And then the jazz cats started taking them and going crazy with them and improvising over the chord structures of those pieces. And then there are other jazz standards written by actual jazz musicians as well. Like Sonny Rollins, who we mentioned, wrote a lot of songs that are now part of the standard repertoire. And basically what this is like there's the standards that everybody knows. So what this allows is that like when you get together on a gig as jazz musicians, when you're freelancing, like it's very common, more common than not, that there's no rehearsal and you're just coming together with a band that has been assembled for that particular gig on that particular night. So you might be meeting the other musicians for the first time, or you might know one of them. I guess you know one of them because they hired you, but sometimes I would get on a gig and I just meet the bass player for the first time. Oh, hi, I'm Harry. Oh, John, nice to meet you. All right, should we do it? Yeah, all the things you are? Cool. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, boom. And then we're playing All the Things You Are, which is one of the most standards of all time. So there's probably like 10 songs that you gotta know, the most standards. You can't really play a gig with only 10 songs though. So then there's like 50 to 100 that it's like, okay, we all basically know these ones if we're out gigging. And then there's thousands, that you can learn that sometimes somebody would be like, oh, you know this tune? I never heard that one, but I'll check it out. I'll know it for next week. So anyway, that's what the jazz standards are. And so what beats would I consider the jazz standards for freestyling is how I'm interpreting this question. Man, I think, like the classic standard beats to freestyle on. Well, a lot of times for us, like when we were younger, it was like we would put on whole like tapes or projects, so like on CD, but like beat tapes. So like any J Dilla instrumental record, I love like the ones that are like they're I don't even know what they're called, like the batches, I think. And there's like 4 discs and they're each a different color. It's like there's a red one, a blue one, a yellow one, and maybe an orange one. But there's a full compilation of them. These are Dilla beats, and I love freestyling over those. Or we would put on like MF Doom, Special Herbs, those instrumentals. We used to freestyle on all of those all the time. MadLib instrumentals, whatever. But in terms of so that's a great way to do it because then you got a whole bunch of beats. Dr. Dre 2001 instrumentals, classic. Those are, I would say, okay, so now we can start getting into like what are like 4 or 5 beats that I think are just like the timeless standards of freestyling. Like if I was a DJ and there were like 5 MCs and they were like, yo, we want to freestyle, play some beats, man. I'd be like, okay, I don't know anything about these rappers. Let's say I want to play some beats that I feel like nobody's really going to be able to argue with. So here's a few. Since we mentioned Dre 2001, I would say still Dre. That's like, come on. Come on. And then I would say Mobb Deep, either Shook Ones, obviously, or Survival of the Fittest, you know. But really like almost any beat off of that Mobb Deep record, the infamous. One of my favorite beats to freestyle on is the Milk Bone instrumental. What is the name of the song? I actually have it up here. Oh, Keep It Real. But this is more known as the Big L Jay-Z freestyle beat, because there's this like 7-minute freestyle recording of Big L and Jay-Z going back and forth, which is legendary. And it's over this beat the whole time. And that's how I found out about this beat. But shout out to Milkbone. But that's a classic. Milkbone, Keep It Real. Wu-Tang, you know, obviously Cream, that's a classic beat. Triumph is a legendary kind of like, oh shit, we're going to rap over this. Like, we got to bring it type of beat. Anything off Pete's Instrumentals, shout out to Pete Rock. And then got to have some Primo on there. I would say Gangstar, Full Clip, legendary. Gangstar, Mass Appeal. Woo! Legendary. And then I got to name an actually specific Dilla beat. So I'm going to say Runnin' by the Far Side. Jay Dilla on the beat. Classic beat to freestyle on. Those are all kind of like, in my opinion, those are the standards because they're inarguable. Like if I was in that scenario where I'm a DJ and there's MCs and they want to rhyme, I feel like if I put on any one of those beats and everyone was like, yo, what? Nah, not this. What else you got? I would just be like, what is happening right now? Like, is my reality melting? Like, where are we? Like, I don't know. I would immediately be like, guys, I don't think I'm right for this. You got to call somebody else. Like, I don't get how this doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's like proven to work. Nah, this is one of the ones. Right?
Like, this has to work, bro.
Do you think beats like is I know it's still, I mean, the beat making these days is insane. The producers, I mean, the access to it has allowed so many cool producers to come up and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're not like focusing on like instrumental tapes and stuff as much anymore. Almost. It's hard to say because genres like blend. There's a lot of great instrumental like EDM and like it blurs a lot.
For sure.
But yeah, it felt like that was like a different era almost.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's still a lot of cats making beat tapes for sure. Probably more than there ever were. But in terms of them being like in the zeitgeist, you know, there's subcultures where they're still really important. But I actually like think that it's really interesting that Dr. Dre 2001 Instrumentals was released as a project, because that's mainstream.
Right.
That was like mainstream. And like the instrumental one has like more streams maybe than like the one with vocals on it, because the instrumentals are just so fucking crazy on that album and everybody knew it. But like, that's really unique. I never really thought about that. That like a mainstream artist that's like charting and on the radio is like, yeah, and here's all the beats.
Yeah.
So you could just rap on them or just bump them or do whatever you want with them. Because in underground hip hop, it's always been kind of a thing, you know?
It's cool.
But not so much in the mainstream. So yeah.
It's interesting these days. Everything gets blurred. So like someone who's doing that might just be releasing them under different projects, and it's like a different genre almost feel. But
for sure,
like that right there, that situation. You know, doesn't happen too much, but
no.
You know, the environment's so different. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I love it, man. I love that. That's a good list right there, y'all.
Hell yeah. There we go, man. Put those in a playlist. Freestyle. You get years of use, man.
Oh man.
All right. Let's hit maybe one or two more.
Let's get one more.
One more. Let me go with this one right here, because we got a video this time. I'm always pulling for videos. We're going to hear from Nikki L, who sent a video in. Thank you, Nikki, for sending a video. Let's check it out.
So, Harry, I was just stopping in to ask a question about your podcasting and when you freestyle on Omegle. I was just curious, do you ever have a moment of embarrassment or maybe intimidation when you start to get into a battle rhyme with someone, or when you're freestyling on your own, or you know, in a crowd of people like you do when you're walking in Venice? Well, just curious, let me know.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Nikki. Great question. Yeah, I haven't done too much battling, so I haven't had to face that intimidation, not in a long time. But yeah, when you ask about Omegle and Guerrilla Bars, there are a couple funny things that come to mind. Moments of embarrassment doing what I do. It's funny because most of them are not rap related. The ones that I think of are mostly tech related, which is kind of hilarious. There's this one thing that's so funny. It was during COVID, and I was doing a lot of like virtual performances during COVID. So it would be a lot of like corporate virtual performances for like teams. some like private ones too for like people's birthday party or stuff like that. But I did this one. I think it was for like a Google team maybe or something like that. It was for like 40 or 50 people, and it was like a legit team at a larger corporation. And so I'm doing my thing on Zoom, and I'm just like pouring my heart into it, just like ripping it. And I have all these different segments that I do to engage people virtually, And I was doing like a 20-minute show, and like I'd been going for like 15 or 16 minutes. It was like time for the last thing. And I was like, all right, y'all, well, we're going to close this thing out, man, the way we always do. And then this person is like, oh, excuse me. They like unmute, and they're like, Harry? And I was like, oh, yeah, what's up? And they're like, hey, I just want to say, man, like I've seen all your videos. Like I love your stuff. I don't think your mic is like plugged in right now, man. And I was like, what are you talking about, bro? And he was like, I don't think we're hearing you through that mic. And like, we're not really hearing any beats. And I was like, what?
No beats either.
Because I got my headphones on and everything sounds exactly how it's supposed to, And I've just been killing it. And then I was like, I looked over and saw that like the second interface that like actually pipes it into Zoom is like off. And I was like, and I hit a switch, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, oh, yeah, nice. God. And I was like, wait, what has it sounded like so far? And he's like, just kind of like a crackly phone call. Like, I was like, oh, my God. I'm so sorry. But they were like, no, it's been great. Like, we just thought that's how it was. So that was very embarrassing.
The group text back like during that, like, does this sound a little off to you? Like, they had to been checking in with themselves. Like,
oh, definitely.
Say something?
The admin chat, dude. Yeah, they were like, maybe this is just how he does it.
Man.
Oh my God, that was terrible. And then there's a couple other things like that. There was one time on Omegle long ago, and I'd done a bunch of clips. It was like a great session. I was like, oh man, we're gonna get like 2 or 3 solid episodes out of this. And then finally I connect with somebody, and they're like, dude, I love your stuff, man. I know you, man. Wow, it's so cool to like hear you. And then he was like, so is there a way that we can see you? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, no, yeah, because it's just like a black square. Like you don't have like your camera on. And I was like, I looked over, and I don't know if it was like I forgot to click like the camera on, or like if I still have my lens cap on. Like I can't remember what exactly it was. Like everything was set up and dialed. I've done it hundreds of times. Like the setup is already done. I don't have to think about the setup. It just works. And again, it was one of those things where I was just like, holy shit. And I like, took the lens cap off or whatever. I was like, hi. And he's like, oh, wow, awesome, man. Oh, yeah, I got to see you too. Sick.
He's like, this is how it's done. Huh? This is how it's made. Like, they never see you?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he does audio only, I guess, to like keep the element of surprise. So all those people who got great reactions. I was like engaging with them. As far as I knew, they were seeing my smile, my nod. Like, it makes me just like really appreciate those people for being so expressive to just a black screen.
Really, man, yeah.
Oh,
it's so
man.
funny that both of those are, it's like just a glance over and you see what went wrong. You're like, oh. Just like a switch, like a reveal.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. There's another Omegle session too where nobody was hearing beats, and I didn't know until like again I got like 5 or 6 clips. I was like, hell yeah, we're killing it. And then this one guy was a rapper, and I was like, oh, I want to hear you, man. You want me to play you a beat? He was like, yeah, go for it. And I like press play, just like I had the last like 6 clips, and he was like, yeah, go for it, man. Like whenever you're ready. I was like, what do you mean? I'm playing it right now. He's like, I can't hear that. I was like, you can't hear that at all? He was like, no, I can't hear that. I was like, damn, bro, I gotta go. That time I had to actually like go change a bunch of wires. Like the setup that time was like actually messed up.
Oh my God.
It was like the first Omegle I did, I think, on the East Coast in the studio I have out there. So I like just wired everything up, and I guess I had done it just a little wrong.
I mean, if you think about like waiting for the drums, there's like a moment like during Omegle where you're just kind of, everyone's vibing, getting settled in. Let's wait for the drums to drop. They're like, all right, man. Sure, dude.
That time, that must have been so awkward. They're like, why is he nodding and saying, for like
just getting
this is his ritual to get in the zone, dude. That's hilarious. Wow. I never thought about that. That's even more embarrassing. This is amazing. Shout out to Nikki L for sending a video in. Thank you for the thoughtful question. And shout out to everybody that submitted questions. You guys are awesome, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Keep them coming. I'm here to answer them. I love it, man.
Me too, man. Great questions.
Hell yeah. Okay, so check this out. In addition to questions, as you know, we also are asking for freestyle submissions, okay? To all the freestyle MCs out there, everybody who likes to flow, improvise, go off top. I suppose you could do a written verse too, if you wanted, I just want to hear from the community. But I've been especially enjoying hearing these off-top improvised freestyles that people have been sending in. There's this awesome growing community of freestylers. So many people do this, whether they have aspirations of doing it professionally or just do it for the joy and for the love. And really, we all should be doing it for the joy and for the love, right? And it's just dope to see so many people getting down with the thing, man. So, again, HarryMackOfficial.com/FlowStatePod. If you like to freestyle or if you know somebody who likes to freestyle and you think they might be into it, let them know, man, because we're always looking to react to these freestyles. And we have one here today, which is accompanied by a message. I'll read this quick. It says, "What's up, Harry and Sam? Hope you guys are all good. Way back when I was about 15, I was on the bus with some friends, and one of the boys from the year above me, who had a love for hip-hop just as much as me, spoke about spitting a free. I was well up for it, but choked. Damn. 25 years later, here I am having fun, feeling inspired by the pod, and submitting this free. Hell yeah, bro. Love that. I had a lot of fun doing it, so I'm going to start spitting out loud a lot more and entering my state of flow/play. Appreciate any feedback. Cheers. Matt, a.k.a. Woz Beats." Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, Woz.
WOZZ. Let's get it. Here we go.
I'm just too nice every time I flow through. Don't let the message be misconstrued. Yo, the cops patrolling Los Angeles to Oakland. Wanna see every time that I go in. Going crazy on the stage, cause a commotion. Bitch, no joking. This ain't rap capping. If you gonna talk smack, I'm a flat back. I'm on the mat with one smack. Leave you in a body bag, Jack. Just for thinking of speaking over me. Down, bitches begging please. Yeah, they be loving on my steez. Okay, maybe not every day, but I just do my shit reppin' LA, Los Angeles, trying to get a handle on this, adding damages. My crew is scandalous, and I've seen your crew suspicious, and they smell like fishes. I'm too vicious when I grab up on the mic, flowing off of the dome. Yo, I just might explode all over your bathroom robe. Oh shit, he's on another one, write a classic. In a minute, do a backflip and I kick it. Do it for all my fans, SaulGood. Don't you know how it is for the homies in the hood?
Hey, Woz Beats.
I love you, man. Following you for a long time. Word up, this is SaulGood. Peace.
Hell yeah.
Tight.
I know what to do. Spam the air horn. Spam the air horn. Yeah, that was dope. Shout out to Matt, man. Thank you so much for sending that in, bro. Dope to hear you do your thing. I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed just kind of the laid back, smooth flow of it. Very organic feeling, very natural. Nothing felt like you were trying to force anything. It was just like, man, you just laying back over the beat, just spitting what comes to you. You know, that was the vibe that it gave off, which I really enjoyed, you know, because so often for me, I'm trying to do so much with my freestyle that that sometimes I'm almost like, man, I should have just chilled a little bit. You know, like I was trying to like connect this to that and make this happen and build this. I'm trying to build that cathedral in real time. And a lot of dope stuff emerges from that pursuit, of course. But this was a nice reminder for me that like, man, sometimes you can just like lay back in the pocket and just spit what comes to you and it can just sound great and feel great. So I really appreciate that aspect of this. And I loved most of all the part where you were like, yeah, man, like you were talking about how like all the ladies are feeling my steez or whatever. And then you were like, all right, maybe not all the time actually like that. Like that was just one of those beautiful moments of freestyle. Like that happens. That was such a common occurrence where like you're flexing, you know, cause you're rapping, you're flexing cause you're freestyling and that's part of the language. And that's a beautiful part of the language. And so you're expressing this kind of like self-love thing in this tonality of like, I'm the shit. Nobody can fuck with me, you know? And then you'll eventually say something and then there's this like moment of clarity where you're like seeing it from outside yourself, like what your homies or people who really know you in real life would think about that statement you're making. And then you're like, all right, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get it. Like it's all good. Yeah. And I just love that, man. I feel like that never happens in songs, rarely, unless it's like meant to be a comedic moment, which is cool. But like usually in a song, you're like maintaining the illusion the entire time. But what's so great about freestyling is like you're really just there doing it. And so you're often in a conversation with your own mind. And to get to hear that out loud is really fun and just really human, you know, and relatable.
That's dope.
So I dig it. Shout out to Matt, Woz Beats, and the place to be. B.
I feel like the car ride is the spot though where you can get into that, like you're not making the overly structured something. Like that's just the classic. Like you just kind of vibe and just
Definitely.
free associate.
Yeah, because people do the car test, like to test their records and stuff. It's just like a good feeling just bumping some nice music while you're out on a drive.
Yeah.
So why not throw on some beats and kick some frees, man?
Some Waz beats.
Hell yeah.
Shout out Waz beats.
Shout out Waz Beats. Great stuff, man. Thanks for sending it in. Shout out to all the freestylers out there worldwide, man. We love to hear from you all. And shout out to everybody that's here listening, man. Thank you so much. Sam? Another
State.
another classic. We're going to close this thing out the way we always do. Should I drop this beat?
Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
Hell yeah. Here we go. Pop this cassette in real quick. Yeah. Open up and then I let it flow. Another podcast episode. Yeah, y'all are tuned into the Mack. We gotta finish this out with the track. Another rap, a free right up off the brain. Yeah, you know that I excite them with the flames. I be going in, it's truth that I'm pursuing. Trying to let go of the outcome like Rick Rubin. Gotta make the greatest thing I can. I can't be thinking about how it will be received by fans. I can't be thinking about if it makes dough. If anybody's gonna wanna spin back my flow. What would the legends think if they heard this song? Would they think that it was alright or really all wrong? Would they think that it was strong or consider it weak? See, if I'm thinking about how they're gonna judge when I speak, well, how the fuck can I get into an open state of being? How can I open up my heart and start freeing? How can I really compose if I'm only worried about how it goes? Everybody knows that we get in our own way when we be overthinking. Sometimes it makes me feel like I'm straight shrinking down to nothingness, like I'm becoming irrelevant, like there's no purpose to my story when I'm telling it. Gotta get up out of my way and clear the path. Can't let myself feel the wrath of the negativity existing, the doubt in my brain. See, that's the type of shit that really stifles my flame, really puts out the spark, really starts reducing my heart, really starts closing off my art, really starts making me feel disconnected, makes me feel sick inside, like I need to go and get disinfected. I can't be the one that's rejected by myself. Gotta find a way to reach out when I need help. Peace to all the people that be speaking on their emotional state. Hope you're feeling well and hope it's going great, but if it's not, please be honest. Time to kill the stigma. Every time I rhyme, I create a full picture. Everyone can see it vividly when you're listening. Blending senses like it's synesthesia. I'm turning skeptics into believers. Y'all know that I only spit the pure stuff. We about to take a trip to Europe. By the time you hear this, we killed it. The shows were awesome. Peace to all the people that came through and was rocking. With this all up in the flesh, I know my flow has been the best. When I throw a lyric out, there's no one who could intercept. I'm putting it down, I'm bringing the sound. I could've been clown whenever I press this out to the people. They feel the message, heed it. Y'all know we need it. Mack about to go ape. I rock the show great. This shit was flow state. I'm entering it like the drummer in the suit. Yo, when I'm rhyming off the mental shit is loot. Now, you know I love to make the people's bodies move. So for me, I find flow state through the groove. Yeah, but y'all know he made the place stop. And I would do it too if I had them double bass chops. Much love to my homie finding deeper flow. When he was breaking down the groove, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe all the chops when it was playing it faster. When I be rhyming right up at the melon, you know that I caused a disaster. I'm preaching like I was the pastor. You know that I loaded up like a full clip. When I'm in the pulpit, my lyrics explosive. Y'all know that I'm lighting the fuse, spitting some shit to be righteous for you. Hoping y'all hear it. When I rap, I'm elevating your spirit. I'm about to make that the clearest when I throw this down. For me, practicing music is so profound. Making mistakes, but I'ma try again. Since the young age of 7 on the violin. Hold up, next beat coming in. Hold up. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Since the age of 7 on the violin. Listen, doing things that ain't been done yet. But in my heart of hearts was fiending for the drum set. I had to get it to express my inner vision. I knew I wanted to say it through rhythm ever since I was a baby. Before I started forming memories, honestly, that's just crazy. The music used to shake me, used to quake me. I guess that's how they chose to create me. I don't know how it happens, I don't know the science. All I know is on this music shit, I am reliant. Yeah, see to me, music the reverend. And when I'm feeling pain, your music is my medicine, healing me. Let me know if y'all are feeling me. I'm absorbing all the energy it's dealing me. Got all the drum set at 10. Practicing had me in the state of zen. That's my meditation. Got me feeling fly full. Started at 7 and it followed me through high school. Followed me through college and followed me way after that. Knew I had to practice my instrument to master that. But eventually it's less about the goal of mastering the instrument and more about my soul. More about a practice that's embedded embedded in my being. When I'm down there in the basement, that shit is freeing. Working it out, one piece at a time, yeah. Slowing it down, relieving my mind of the stress and the pressure. I'm not thinking about the outcome. Only thing I'm thinking about is yesterday's level getting outdone. Matter of fact, I ain't even thinking about that. I ain't even really thinking about rap or thinking about jazz or thinking about groove or thinking about drums or thinking about instruments. Honestly, it's kind of like I'm numb, but at the same time feeling more than ever. I'm opening up my brain, letting go of the pressure, maintaining while I'm up in this lane. Yeah, trying to churn something up and kick all the flames to the people. I'm finding a deeper meaning to being up in this world that some would consider cold and freezing, but somehow through practicing more ones I'm achieving. Somehow all the pain that we felt, this is relieving like all of that, so I'm falling back on what I know. I gotta practice on the daily, gotta stay in that flow, yeah. And y'all know I'm about to burst. When I bust, I said, I need to practice, been rehearsing too much. I said, I need to practice, we've been working too much. And it's such a blessing to be working on stuff that I actually love. I don't take it for granted, but if I can't spend that time with the instrument, I can't manage. Just alone time, in my zone time, off the radar, that unknown time. Not filming it, up on my phone time. Yeah, I'm about to leave that shit alone time. Yeah, that's how I do it, I can feel it in my bones. I'm really gon' shine. If you didn't know before, well, you're knowing it now. Every time Mack's flowing, he be throwing it down. Cause it's the F-L-O to the duh, S-T-A-T-E. We spread love. It's the F-L-O to the duh, S-T-A-T-E. We spread love. Flow State Pod in the place to be. Sam on the cam, Mack with the crazy freeze, and the fans with the questions they asking me. Spit the UV rays, let them bask in these. Yo, I'm happy to be sitting in this chair. Flow Tell edition, I'm out here spitting it rare in the flow air. B&B, peace to people listening and those that see in me. Let's go. Yeah. Flow State, baby. Episode 39. We love you.